broken. Broken homes, broken relationships, broken marriages, broken dreams, broken bones, broken hearts, broken spirits. The word broken. When you hear that word, I am sure you associate other words with broken like sad, depressed, unhappy, lost, confused, angry, unfixable, trash. Well, today we want to give you a new perspective of brokenness. When you think of the word broken after you watch this mini sermon that Jason and I want to share with y'all, we want you to think of renewed, redeemed, and loved. There is something about reaching a breaking point that causes us to seek the Lord more sincerely. It is so easy to miss, though, in those moments of brokenness because it is hard to see the bigger picture in that state. And Jason's going to share a little story.
Yeah. So back in, what was the date? I want to say around the 15th of May?
May 13th.
May 13th.
2016.
So for those of you that don't know, I had 3 arm surgeries at that point in the past year or so. And I finally thought I was healthy and ready to go. I'd been throwing well. And I thought this was probably going to be my last outing in rehab, and I was going to go get to play the sport I love again. So I pitch, and I come home, and Kelsey's working on something for Soul Beauty.
I'm filming, I was in the middle of doing an Ultimate Reset the Cleanse, and I was doing a live video talking about this green drink, and he comes in, and I'm like, how was the day?
She's like, how'd it go?
Thinking he dominated because it's
and
the last outing.
Yeah, and I remember just like this, my heart hurt, and I started crying because my arm, that outing, it started hurting again to the point where I knew I was going to need a 4th surgery. And I knew this season probably was not happening for me. And it was going to be the 2nd season in a row that I was missing. And I just felt literally broken in my elbow. And spiritually and physically and mentally exhausted and broken. And I just broke down and cried, which I'm not much of a crier, but it wrecked me. And I just hated every second of that moment.
And like you said, we're spiritually broken. And I'm going to get personal. I like to journal. And it's so crazy because I don't journal every day, but specifically I did journal this day that's happened. And I said, sitting in our apartment in Florida, feeling very uncertain and feeling very anxious about our future. Jason has experienced pain in his elbow again. We thought we would have been out of rehab, Florida by now. I mean, we had been ready weeks ago. It is so funny because going into this year, we had pictured things, what things were going to look like, how we wanted things to work out.
We'll be in the big leagues. We'll be healthy. All that.
We were confused, frustrated, worrying about if Jason will ever even recover fully, 100%. All of these thoughts start rushing through my mind. But then I thought, what is all this negative energy doing to me? Making me more negative? I opened up my Bible and just prayed to God to help me fix my bitter and anxious heart. I know His plans are not always our plans, but I still doubt. I need to cling on to His truths deeply during this waiting season. The enemy is trying to take me down, tempting me to think bad thoughts. Dear Lord, I said, I just thank you for another day with my incredible husband. I know you have a plan for us, and your plans are always better than our plans because they truly ultimately glorify you. And I said, do not fear, Kelsey. God owns all the resources in the universe. Nothing is beyond His knowledge or His power. And like I mentioned before, I said there's something about reaching a breaking point that causes us to seek the Lord more sincerely.
And that was my breaking point. Through the 3 surgeries before, I got down a little bit, but I was always like, oh no, it was all good. I'd never cried or anything. And that 4th time is when I broke, and I was like, I can't heal myself. No matter what rehab I do, it's out of my control. And since that moment, like, our lives have really transformed, and my relationship with Christ has grown, and it's been so good for me and good for us, even though in that moment I thought it was just terrible news. So, like we just talked about, I came to that realization, thank God, that I couldn't physically heal myself, and the same goes for us spiritually and emotionally. We cannot restore ourselves. True healing of brokenness, of a broken heart or broken dreams or whatever it may be, can only come from God and His power. We have to completely surrender our hearts and souls to Him and keep our eyes fixed wholly and completely on Jesus Christ. not the problems of this world, keeping that eternal perspective. But as humans, it's so easy to just write off broken things as worthless. But God, He does the complete opposite. He takes those broken things and remakes them into something better than they were before. He's remade me, and He's taken a physical break and remade me into something far better for His kingdom. And it will be used for His glory. Brokenness happens, and it's a huge part of this world because of sin. But yet, God sent His sinless, blameless Son to be broken on the cross for us so that we could be healed. And there's a story in the Bible of the night before the crucifixion, and Jesus breaks the bread. I'm sure a lot of you guys know this. He broke the bread saying, "This is my body, which is broken for you." And He's not talking about the bread being broken. He died on the cross and broke His body so that we could live in Him. It made it possible for our broken, sinful human selves to be reconciled to God and be healed. Without the broken body of Jesus, we could never be made whole.
And a verse that we really love is Isaiah 53:5. But He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon Him, and by His wounds we are healed. God is good, y'all. He is so good. But I love what Lisa Turker says in her book, What Happens When Women Walk in Faith, and this can still pertain to men. Mm-hmm. God is way more interested in developing our character to match our calling than in manipulating our circumstances to make us happy. I'm going to repeat that again.
Repeat that.
God is way more interested in developing our character to match our calling than in manipulating our circumstances to make us happy, that was convicting when we both heard it. And that goes back to you with your breaking moment.
He had no interest in, you're right, Jason, we need to get you healthy and into the big leagues and make your dream come true. No, He wanted to transform my character, and this was the best way to do it.
And just like my breaking moment, I guess you would say, would be after Miss USA. I so badly wanted to win Miss USA. Yeah. That would have been the thing that made me happy, but I had to break that moment in Arkansas where I had to figure out where my true identity was in, who it was in. So guys, we can't, in the moment of brokenness, we cannot rely on our emotional thinking, but we must seek God's perspective. So even in our broken seasons, we need to press on seeking Him. I feel like we get so caught up in our emotional thinking of what's going wrong, what's not happening for us, or what.
We lose sight of that, of God's plan. And we don't know God's plan, but we have to trust God's plan. Because I'll tell you right now, the transformation we've undergone the past 2 years is far better than if things would have gone our way.
Mm-hmm. So remember, to press on seeking Him in your season of brokenness. To wrap this up, we want to read from 2 Corinthians 4, verses 7 through 10. We now have this light shining in our hearts, but we ourselves are like fragile clay jars containing this great treasure. This makes it clear that our great power is from God, not from ourselves. We are pressed on every side by troubles, but we are not crushed. We are perplexed, but not driven to despair. We are hunted down, but not abandoned by God. We get knocked down, but we are not destroyed. Through suffering, our bodies continue to share in the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be seen in our bodies.
And what we're saying with reading those verses is, like, we are all going to be broken, and like from this world, from like God's plan and everything, but we cannot be driven to despair, and we shouldn't, because we know it's God's plan. There's a greater purpose to our suffering. There's a greater purpose to everything in our lives. So if we keep our eyes fixed on that, we can at least hold on to the fact that brokenness is being used for eternal glory.
Yeah, can I read from here?
Yeah,
I want to read from here. God draws us. He calls to us. He longs for us to come to Him so He can heal us. Often we are unable to hear His call because we're so busy with other things. Our lives, our families, our work, our own problems, our unhappiness, our own loneliness, our brokenness. Sometimes we must be broken before we realize our true need. Our deepest need is to be reconciled to God. Only then we can be made whole. And we talked about earlier, the solution can never come from our own efforts, our own striving, but comes only from Him. Only when we recognize our need for God, we are able to take our eyes off of ourselves and our problems and focus them on God and Jesus Christ.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Kelsey was just saying, sometimes we have to be broken to really let God shine through us. And it reminded her of this quote that she read however long ago, and I won't let her share that.
The quote is, "It's okay to be a glow stick. Sometimes we need to break before we shine." But
it didn't set well with us to just say that, because it's not about us shining. So
we wanted to put a biblical perspective on this quote, and this is it. It's okay to be a glow stick. Sometimes we need to break before God can shine through us. Brokenness is what must happen before God can put the pieces back together in the way that He can shine through best. So for instance,
we have a glow stick. We'll do this. We'll turn down the light. And this glow stick, not that special right now. It's just a clear piece of plastic with some fluid. But it would come along and it breaks. And now we have God shining through us. So if you're broken, be encouraged that you might just be broken so that God can shine through you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope this message is encouraging for y'all who are, especially right now, going through a season of brokenness, whatever it may be. If you resonated with this message, feel free to like it and share it, and hopefully it can touch many more lives.
Yeah, we want to touch as many as possible, and be that glow stick. Let God shine through you in your brokenness.
Bye, y'all.
To the cross I cling, of its suffering I do.